Welcome to Token Topics. I hope everybody's doing great. We're going to dive into the world of Stellar. We're going to check out the birth of real-world assets, or RWAs, which is a hot topic lately. And we're going to check out different types, such as tokenized treasuries on Stellar. It's very exciting. We're going to dive into a document from the Tokenized Asset Coalition. Also, the vote for Protocol 20 is upon us. What does this mean for Stellar? We're going to dive in to learn more. And we're going to hear words from Tori Samples, who is head of product at Stellar. She recently spoke with ScaleMoat. So we're going to hear about the future of cross-border technology and a Stellar disbursement platform. If you're a Stellar fan, you don't want to miss this, please do hit the like and subscribe so you can stay up to date. It's important to keep your assets, your crypto, safe. Purchase a DCENT wallet through Token Topics affiliate link in the description of every video, and you can receive an incredible discount. Alright, we now have a report from the Tokenized Asset Coalition. If you've seen one of my recent videos, I talked about the formation of the Tokenized Asset Coalition, and it truly is a big deal. We have a 2024 outlook right now. Real-world assets are a very hot topic. So let's go over the executive summary. The Tokenized Asset Coalition unites traditional and crypto financial systems with a shared belief that all assets will eventually move on-chain. That's a big deal right there. So by addressing the opacity, inefficiencies, and fragmentation of the current financial infrastructure, the TAC aims to spearhead the next wave of digital transformation. The state of asset tokenization provides a range of insights into real-world assets and tokenization innovation happening to business models and products, the emergence of institutional investors, large market trends, and more. All right, let's get a better understanding of the formation of real-world assets by understanding the birth of a tokenized risk curve. So prior to 2021, assets in crypto markets maintained one of two distinct risk-return profiles. At one end of the risk curve, cryptocurrencies offered returns through yield farming, issuing new tokens, and market speculation. On the other side of the risk curve, stablecoins offered capital preservation and a medium of exchange largely at the expense of profit potential. In 2021, tokenized private credit was introduced, filling a gap between these two extremes to lure attractive risk adjustment non-correlated returns. Tokenized private credit assets soon became known as real-world assets, or RWAs. Teams launched to facilitate lending and borrowing activities collateralized by these assets via blockchain and decentralized finance, or DeFi. Today, the definition of real-world assets, or RWAs, has expanded, encompassing a multitude of asset classes. So what we are witnessing is the emergence of a tokenized investment risk curve, which currently lacks the full range of investable options compared to traditional financial instruments. While RWAs today primarily consist of tokenized representations of currency, money market instruments, and private credit assets, we expect all existing asset classes to be tokenized. Further, we anticipate novel assets will emerge resulting from blockchain technology itself. As a note to onlookers and naysayers alike, we offer that tokenization is much less an opportunity than an inevitability. Institutional adoption, regulatory acknowledgement, and heightened media interest signal that tokenization is moving beyond crypto hype. While acknowledging our bias, we maintain that real-world asset segment of the market contains some of the most loyal contributors across blockchain applications. Currency. The silver lining in real-world assets, or RWA space, has been stablecoins, which, albeit having come down in total value locked, over the past 2 years were stable relative to crypto and blockchain VC activity. Centralized issuers of US dollar, USD pegged stablecoins were particularly resilient to challenging market dynamics. US Treasuries. The prevailing narrative, which emerged throughout 2023, is the development of tokenized US Treasury products. While several products technically launched prior to 2023, there's been a flurry of product launches throughout 2023 which offered investors access to U.S. government short-term debt, or U.S. Treasuries. RWA.XYZ estimates that there are in excess of 20 companies and protocols offering these products. As of December 31st, there was an excess of $831 million of capital allocated to tokenized US Treasuries, up from 114 million at the beginning of 2023. In early 2023, virtually all allocations, 90% to this product, were through Franklin Templeton's Benji product. Now I want to stop right there. Keep in mind that Stellar is working with Franklin Templeton. In fact, last year they announced the Franklin Templeton's on-chain U.S. government money fund, and that it actually surpassed $270 million in asset management. So the fund's transfer agent maintains the official record of share ownership via proprietary blockchain integrated system that currently utilizes Stellar blockchain. So continuing here, we know that there's going to be only more use cases. This is just the beginning. Now I'd like to connect some dots so you can see Stellar's technology being utilized for tokenized US Treasuries. This is very exciting. Now this is an article from late last year, so not long ago, but this is going to connect dots so we can see. Now once more people see that Stellar is superior to Ethereum as far as gas fees and speed, I mean, it's going to be a no-brainer. But here we go. Ethereum recently toppled the Stellar XLM network in value of treasury tokens on chain, while later entrants, Polygon and Solana, also attracted $40 million of assets combined, according to blockchain data. This indicates a diversifying blockchain landscape for tokenized assets, such as treasuries. All right, everybody, this is exciting. There's only a couple days left before the vote. Protocol 20 is upon us. And what does that mean? The goal is to add smart contract capabilities to the Stellar network, as announced back in January of 2022. Since then, the Stellar Development Foundation, in collaboration with the ecosystem, has been hard at work designing and building the Sorbonne smart contract platform. After 2 years of development and 11 preview releases, the vote to launch Sorbonne on mainnet is on our doorstep. All right, what's new with Protocol 20? Protocol 20 implements 12 new core advancement proposals, or CAPs, that combined introduce the changes to the Stellar protocol and Stellar core required to enable Sorbonne smart contracts. CAP 46, Sorbonne smart contract system overview, details all the changes to the XDR and links out to the other Sorbonne related CAPs. So you can see the CAPs right there. Now, adding smart contract support to Stellar drives imagination and innovation and unlocks a myriad of new possibilities for developers building on the network. The Stellar network currently supports a rich, although fixed, set of transactions, making it inflexible and difficult to adapt to ecosystem needs and fast-paced blockchain landscape. Users must currently rely on protocol-level changes to implement and use features such as AMMs, which can be a laborious process. With Sorbonne, Stellar developers are empowered to do more on a network and have more room to innovate. And this doesn't take away from what the network already offers. In fact, Sorbonne's capabilities, coupled with Stellar's already established on-chain assets, easily leverage with the Stellar Asset Contract, or SAC, on Global Anchor Network, gives developers opportunities not experienced in other networks. Now, I'd like to end with this informative video. We're going to hear from Tori Samples, a product at Stellar. She's going to speak with Scale Mode on the significance of cross-border payment challenges and solutions. Now, before we watch that, in case you're not familiar with the Stellar disbursement platform, late last year they announced this, and it's very exciting. From paying gig workers anywhere in the world to delivering digital aid, anyone can power global payments using digital assets with this publicly available bulk disbursement tool. So whether you're an employer and you're needing to pay all your employees at once, or for any solution where you're needing bulk payments, the Stellar disbursement platform is revolutionary.
And I am thrilled to be joined today by Fabricio Sano from Bigger, formerly known as ScaleMote, which is a platform connecting software engineers with founders to scale businesses faster and better. Today, we're going to be exploring the challenges and triumphs of connecting people across borders and the significance of cross-border payments. We'll also discuss the role that technology plays in bridging the gap for communities worldwide. So Fab, it is great to have you here. I am so excited for this conversation. Let's kick things off with you just introducing yourself and Bigger.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much for having me. Well, I'm Argentinian. I've been living in Australia for the last 10 years. I've been involved in the stellar community since 2021. And yeah, Bigger, we recently got rebranded. We started off around 4 years ago as a free community where people learn to program from scratch. Currently has close to 7,000 students. And last year, we started connecting those graduates with early stage startups around the world. And at the moment, we have connected around 90 graduates. So yeah, it's been a fun year for us.
I love that. And I love the rebrand to Bigger, because I think it does encapsulate your mission and your scope of services very well. I feel like every time I talk to you, there is something new and something bigger that's even better than what was there before. So that's really great.
Yeah, that was a little bit the intent. We wanted to show that we're bolder and that we can help companies get bigger with us and our talents as well. So yeah, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Well, let's dive into some questions. I mean, this is an informal conversation. It's a back and forth, but definitely some topics that we want to cover. So to kick things off, maybe, what challenges do you think currently exist in connecting people across borders? And how does that affect growth for individuals and businesses and the communities that you serve?
Yeah. Well, look, depending on the corridor, I think it could be a little bit more or less challenging. So there's some legal and regulatory constraints, and some of those, as you know, whenever you start doing business with a fintech business, they will ask for a KYC, KYB, etc. And if you're born in a jurisdiction which is considered to be high risk, that sort of leaves you out of the system, which means that individuals cannot thrive, which then means that affects their communities. And if you're trying to run a business in a community that is not thriving, then that obviously reduces your chances of having a successful business. So that's from the legal and regulatory side. But then there's also technological infrastructure differences, and it just means that some nations are just better prepared or better equipped to, or have more opportunities to do businesses. Like, I live in Australia. Australia is a great country, very connected to everything. I can open business accounts and start transacting straight away with every other nation pretty much that is not in a sanction list or something like that. But if I were to do the same in Argentina, if I tried to do the same in Argentina, it would be really more complex. I would have a lot of significant challenges to do that. So yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that. As somebody who formerly ran a cross-border business in Africa, I think when people, especially in the blockchain and Web3 world, hear cross-border or cross-border payments, they tend to think of just like US to the rest of the world, or Europe to the rest of the world, like remittances, old school remittances. But there's so much opportunity in all of the many-to-many relationships across the world. We know that people are moving across borders easier than ever. Money is a little bit behind, but it's getting there. But we know that, with companies like Bigger and so many of the stellar ecosystem companies around the world, that there is opportunity in helping connect people and financial flows and business opportunities, especially post-COVID. So really excited to see that you all are doing that so well. So maybe then the next question, what is the significance of cross-border payments in today's interconnected world, building on that theme? And what challenges do you encounter in that space beyond just the things you mentioned?
Yeah. So look, obviously extremely important. I can, talk myself as a migrant. You need to send money back home in most cases. It does become, a critical source of income for people back home. So it's definitely extremely important. For businesses, equally important. Like, you may want to work with the best providers, and that means that you need to pay someone who is on the other side of the world. And you also may want to expand your customer base overseas, and that means getting paid, and having remittances come your way. So in terms of challenges, as I said before, if you are obviously AML, CTF, so money laundering, counterterrorism financing, really important, needs to be in place. Definitely it would be good if you weren't to be automatically assumed to be just a high-risk person because you were born, in a country that at the time is considered to be high risk, or because it's not easy to verify who you are. So I think definitely this is the biggest challenge that I see at the moment. And then there are other challenges, which are, the common ones, which I think can already be improved with solutions like Stellar. So transaction costs are still high, they're slow, which means that you don't get paid sooner. And because you don't get paid sooner, leaves you exposed to currency fluctuations. And then just generally lack of transparency on what are you paying for, because you see an exchange rate, that exchange rate sometimes contains what the money transmitter puts on top, which is not super clear. So yeah, it's just, and you also don't know how long it's going to take. Like sometimes it's like 1 to 10 business days. You're like, okay, that's quite a big margin. So yeah, I think those are probably the biggest challenges I see at the moment.
Absolutely. And I think that cuts across individuals and businesses. I mean, it's kind of equal opportunity bad things, because when you talk about remittances, I mean, the sender might be affected by the cost and the foreign exchange rate. But when we talk about paying people from a company, paying their employees or their contractors, they're affected by those same things. And so really at every level, it's affecting the financial flows and the people that are behind that. And so I do think that hopefully we're addressing some of that with technology, but there still tends to be a lag. And we know that it's not just a minor pain point, but it can really affect people's lives. And so how do you see all of those challenges impacting financial inclusion and financial access across the world?
Yeah, so, well, as I said before, if you think about migrants, traveling or having to send money back home, and you look at, I have a personal story to share. So I used to send money back home from Australia to Argentina. The first times that I did it, I paid, I think, close to $50 in commissions, and the money took around a week to arrive. And when you think about, you say $50, and maybe it's not a lot of money if you live in a developed world, but for instance, currently in Argentina, that's 33% of a minimum wage, right? So $50 could be the difference between doing 33% more of what you currently do in a month. And obviously, because it takes a week, and I mean, Argentina's inflation is sort of a category of one, because we have currently now the highest inflation of the world. It was 25% in December, and I think like 211% year on year. So if you think about that in terms of a week where you send the money, and the pesos that people will get after a week will be worth even less, right? So it definitely has, these challenges definitely have an impact to financial access, because it just becomes more difficult. And that's actually how I found out about Stellar, because I was looking for an alternative way to be able to send money to my family faster in Argentina. And once I found it, the end-to-end process of going from my Australian bank to the bank of my parents in Buenos Aires took me 15 minutes end-to-end, right? So, and almost no fees besides the exchange rate. I think it's like 1% that the exchanges charge on either side. But like, I'll pay for that if it's done in 15 minutes, as opposed to $50 in fees and 1 week later. So yeah, definitely, I think that's I think that's how it affects, these challenges affect financial access.
Absolutely. Well, and I believe the World Bank's target for remittance fees is around 3%. And many countries around the world are still at least double that. That's been my experience in Africa, where you get 7 to 20% sometimes on remittances, depending on where you're sending from and to. And then add on top of that, as you said, the timing delays and the lack of transparency, and it's just really tough. That's something that obviously we at SDF care very deeply about, and have done some work around And so we actually, I'm going to brag on our policy team just here for a second while I have the opportunity. We just published a white paper on financial access and how financial inclusion is built upon financial access and usage and quality. But you have to have access first. So financial access isn't overall financial inclusion. We know that, but it is the gateway to financial inclusion. And so that's what we like to focus on, because that's where we feel like we have the most ability to impact through Stellar-based products. But we know that blockchain is actually making an impact in that space. And so we've come up with a framework with PwC for how to evaluate blockchain's efficacy in that space. We're talking about that. This event dovetails events that are going on in Davos this week, speaking with world leaders about how we can improve that so that people can get more financial access, leading to financial inclusion through things as basic as cross-border payments and remittances. So we're really excited about that and continuing that work. We're glad to work with organizations like Bigger that are doing that every single day.